All right. So
Let's
first
go
up,
Canadians. They're shit now.
Montreal. Yeah, they're not shit now. Jesus, this is a little harsh. I mean, 29 points in 20 games is still pretty solid, I feel.
Seventh in the conference,
Yeah,
falling from grace.
let's say
I mean,
solid.
anyone in the playoffs in the East looks pretty good so far.
Yeah, it's a close fight for the teams that are actually in the playoffs over there.
Have we
McNish has
actually
been,
started yet?
yeah, I've been recording for it.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, McNish
All
is like
right.
front running at 925 right now, which is pretty fun.
So, what like obviously you had to do some make some changes over the off season. I assume like contract stuff and just
Yeah,
like
we lost Krebs in the offseason. I sent him to Columbus, and I re-upped Leonov and Kirkby to a lot larger salary contracts.
right. So you had to lose some guys.
Right, Krebs mostly.
Just and like who have you been missing most? You think?
I kind of wanted another. I do want a 3C because my Guzzo replacement for Krebs hasn't necessarily gone nearly as well as I want to. Um,
Right.
but future steps, I suppose. I have some money
I
I can
mean,
play with. I can wait for it to accrue. We'll give that a go to start.
I find that, or like I found that that was the thing when I was in my sort of run was just like, yeah, every year there was new cap concerns or things that people needed more money or you had to move some stuff around. Like it just like it became harder and harder, obviously, and but like you kind of have to have the attitude like, well, this solution is sort of like good enough for now, and at the trade deadline, I will load up again. Like hopefully you have like some cap accrued by then that you can use, and you can move around some of the pieces that are just not fitting well, um, and add, and then go for it again. But like, is that what you kind of have in mind?
Yeah, something along those lines, effectively. There I might try to sell off some of my expiring guys because I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to hold Mancini or High, but um, I'm not really sold on whether or not I should sell those guys this trade deadline and go for it again harder next year, or try to write it out with them one last time.
Yeah, I mean, Mancini's been just like, I mean, a stud in
Right, and he
terms of like
wants
always, yeah.
13 million now, and it's like, ooh, that's a lot. It's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
So the question is, do you think he is more uh,
Valuable one last run.
Sam
Right.
Alfano, or is he more Guillaume Escalier? Like, is he going to produce no matter what situation he is in his driving production, or is he the one?
He's
He
kind of
is
been
he
matched
kind of
with he's on the Leonov LeBlanc line the entire time, so I don't know. That's the scary part. So
right? You should like test it out, see
I
if
mean,
how he does
I
on.
have Leonov actually running a 3C right now because Guzzo and Novak are hurt, but yeah, so we'll give that a go for now.
Yeah,
We'll see
but
if he
yeah, that
can carry there then. That'll be a good test with just LeBlanc and someone else.
Right.
And
I
the
mean
answer
that was the.
to
Sorry, go ahead.
oh, so I was gonna say the answer for all the other GMs is yes, he does. But regardless whether. Anyways, sorry.
I was just gonna say like like the Alfano test was like just that whatever line you put him on he just like produced like even sometimes I had him in Colorado on the third line with Alex Kirkcott, and that was still our like our top scoring line. So um, that's kind of but he's also kind of a freak. So um, but yeah, I don't know, Mancini just like you're just used to like looking at the top scorers and he's sitting there, right? So
Right.
it's hard to imagine just like losing him. But
Yep.
13. What was it? 13 million.
13 million for 6
Yeah.
years. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And like I
This
mean,
is-
I only set out what 3 points from first in the East. The East is just super tight this year.
Right.
The East outside of one division is tight
I suppose, yeah.
at the top. Like the team site for the number 1 seed in the East will always only be from the Atlantic this year. Like I just don't think the Metro at the top end has enough. So it's honestly
So
unlucky you're currently. It's unlucky Drew's
So-
currently sitting in 7th.
All right.
So
Just 'cause he
like
is
Who's the next team? I don't
The
have
next
the
team?
standings in front of me. Last season standings.
Columbus.
It's Columbus. All right. Columbus currently is in 6th in the East and
3rd in the Metro.
3rd in the Metro. They got the big ads were Krebs for them.
Also added Fimis.
Fimis, yeah, that's right. They had a couple of
Krishnikov.
Fitzers.
Krishnikov. I mean, it's been a roster that's like been a lot of like experienced centers and then like young players. But you see, like they're getting closer to competing now. They also added Drew Hellison in a trade just in the last couple of days. So I think this roster is good. They have like Fimis Krebs is a pretty good like start at center, and they have some depth there too, and some young players. I mean, there's no real big weakness to this team, I would say. But whether they have like the real dominant players to get beyond say the second round, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different players that can play well, at least on this team. Good mix.
Fimis is out for I don't know 2 months, 2 more months. I don't know how long he's been out, but with
Been out for half a
fractured
month
shin.
already.
Okay, so it was nearly a 3-month injury basically for Fimis. But he was
What's going to slow
point
them
per game.
down?
Yeah,
The only real
he was-
worry for them is if they somehow slow down enough for Carolina to snipe them for 3rd in the Metro. Which, with Carolina's defense, I don't think is likely.
and I mean worth noting that Krebs is really struggling. Looks like his skating has fallen off, and it's 9 points in 19 games, just over 6.5 AVR. So really falling off where he was. Let's see, he was at
Last sim,
But-
he was with the number 1 and 2 point scorers, so it's not like they're
Yeah.
not trying to make him produce, but something's up with Krebs.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's more complicated than this, but he's down like from 7.38 AVR, which is like he's like a bit of on a downward trend in terms of his AVR, but this is like almost a full point like off
Substantially
his normal
lower,
pace.
right?
Yeah,
Like last year, I had him at 3C. That's not a fake AVR for him on the wing. He
Right.
played center actually, so
right. It's hard to put
But
up a
it's-
good AVR as a center on third line. It's like you got to get the right players surrounding them to
So
make
one
that
thing
work.
I just noticed about Krebs, I'm looking at his game log. He hasn't scored a point in 6 games, and I've just said he's playing with the number 1 and number 2 point scorers on the team. That's
that good?
No.
I'm not sure.
And what's this contract? It's just a one.
It's just 1 year,
It was
yeah.
1 year left. Yeah,
No,
Yeah,
it was
just
a sign
one
and
year.
trade.
it's an extension.
Yeah, sign and trade. That's why it was only 2/3.
Okay.
Because that's all he paid for Krebs was 2/3. It's not like it's a significant loss if it doesn't pan out. The biggest loss for that would be the opportunity cost with the cap space. But I mean, he had so much of it, it didn't really matter.
Well, I mean, I think I guess I think the only weakness of this team is just like not having that like real dominant like center or like
Well, that's
or
yeah,
wing
they
like
are Famisless right now. Excuse me, Famisless right now. They are Famisless right
yeah,
now.
that's true. Right now, their highest scorer is Riley Height with 18 points in 19 games, um, and I mean it would probably be Fimis if he was,
Right.
not hurt, but and highest AVR on the team is Fisher Marguerite, 8 on the dot. Just looking to see, Hammerla has been good. No, I mean 909, not actually that good. What are your numbers show for Hammerla?
Hammerla, I have him 18th in the league in goal
18.
save versus average.
So it's nothing
Like,
spectacular, but he's
Nothing.
not
Right.
selling your team.
Right. He's between
I mean,
Elliott and St. Pierre and Lopez. He's in like that echelon.
which like last year the last couple years he's put up
Decent
just
yeah.
better numbers, like 10 or 0.1 better than this. So
It's also
0.1.
been 19 games in the season.
Yeah,
Like we
yeah.
might be extrapolating a lot off of a little.
Well, I guess like it's not a ton, but it's something to watch because he is like
Right.
34. And but I mean, I also think there's like, it's like if this is the like the low point, this is the floor of this his performance. It's like could be worse than this. So yeah, I mean, it seems to be like if you look at most of his years, he does have these years where he goes to like a little down to around this level, but most of the time he's more like 916, 918 save percentage. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a contender in the East, but also like could use a little bit of a big addition to compete at the highest level.
Yep.
Yeah, they
They
have a
also
lot of players closing in on 8, but I think they need maybe one or two more. They did well last year. I think like they got to the second round. That was a bit of a surprise, but I think that was maybe also off the back of their goalie.
they made the conference finals. That's what I was about to say.
Right.
I think they're the only team to take a game off of me.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's a good team. I mean, it's been changing. Obviously, like just they've been cycling through these older centers. Last year it was Braden Point, and I can't remember who else they had. Guzzo, I think, right? But
They had him, but there's another one too.
yeah, there was somebody else then. Anyway, I mean, I think it's like it's a good team. Probably will finish near the top of the East when things are all once they get Fimis back.
Up next are the Capitals.
Yes. Special teams Warriors of last year. How are they doing this year in special teams? Still Warriors on the PK.
Not so well in the
Yeah,
power play though.
plays.
brutal
Power
power
plays
play.
leaving a lot to be desired.
That's
So
what Sandine was really good at last season.
and Sandy, I mean, the last 2 years, right? I think Sandy has 2 straight Norrises, right?
And I don't know necessarily about Norris's, but I know he had like almost 40 points exclusively on the power play last season.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So like this team added.
They added Rudy Morant. They added
Morant.
an old Dante Fabro.
Yeah.
But they
Tataryn,
but they lost
Schneider.
Sandine and Gula.
Right. I mean, they were. They had to rejig their defense, which they were basically using 4 real defensemen last year. But yeah, they lost Gula. Sandine, those are the big losses, and they traded away Cottle to Calgary, and obviously also Connor Levis. So big kind of like large changes here. I mean, they're a good team. Do we think they're better than last year?
I like their center depth more. I mean, right, McNeil, Morant is a lot better down the middle than they were last season, and that's a pretty decent improvement.
Right now, they're sitting one goal over even in terms of goal for, goals against. So they are. I was gonna say
Oh,
it
wow.
must
And that's
looks
with
like they're-
Bravakov playing really pretty well with the 9-17. It's not like a goalie faltering.
So I mean, it's the offense that's struggling right now. They are 26th in the league in scoring in goals for per game, and I always like to check it against shots for per game. So yeah, they're 15th in shots for per game. So they're getting a little bit unlucky there.
Their team's just not even Rybakov's at 8. Seriously, team's like kind of underperforming, but yeah, they're still doing even. But I guess that's just because of goaltending. They have some lines that looks like they're failing, like Prattle -9. Maybe there's some issues with like a little bit of lack of talent, I guess. Maybe not. I don't know. I remember them having a really good team.
Yeah, I mean Levis was like automatic offense on like from the wing that maybe they have lost a bit of. Kroon is the guy that they brought in, and he's got 13 goals in 21 games, so that's not a bad not an awful replacement. But let's see, I'm just gonna compare to what
It's a problem
Levis.
when your next highest goal scorer is 6.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, like,
it's Reynolds is the guy who, like, usually, I mean, it is like the other talented goal scoring winger that should be putting up more goals. He's got 4 goals in 18 games.
There's just quite a few guys on this team you look at and say they are massively underperforming.
Right. I mean, it's partially the power play, which is under 20%. I mean, yeah. I think they put their eggs in the basket of like, let's get the center depth and the offense will take care of itself. But right now doesn't seem to be a lot of offensive chemistry. I don't know if it's just a matter of like the mix isn't right or they just haven't found it yet. But yeah, I mean, to see a team that's sitting in second place and is just above, is basically scoring as many goals as they let in is not what you're looking to see. I mean, obviously this is a team that would be really they are 5th, 4th in the league. No. I mean, if you look at points, there's 6 teams in the East that are ahead of them. So no, 5. So there really should be 6th. It's just that the Metro is bad.
Can I just say one thing interesting about their power play?
Okay.
They've got 2 players with multiple power play goals, but they're both defensemen. The forwards genuinely aren't doing as much as they should on that power play. The most they've got is 4 assists and a goal from McNeil, and then like 4 assists from Wright. Everyone else is 3 points or less as a forward.
Respectfully, why is McNeil in the power play? Like, he's fine, but I mean, I feel like you have more.
He leads the team in power play points.
Yeah.
And he's centering the second unit.
Oh, if he's on the second unit, okay, that makes a little more.
Yeah, that's fine. It's the like usually like guy who's got 12 anticipation isn't necessarily like a top option on the power play, but I mean he's
the second unit. I thought it.
Also, yeah.
Second unit center, just there to pass the puck around, and 4 assists tells you he's doing that. And as defenseman on that unit, Fabro's got 3 goals, so
I
they're
mean,
doing something all right on the second power play, but that first unit's just
It's funny because
nothing.
that's the same unit they run at 5-5, and as we said, Kroon's been doing pretty well.
And it's not quite the same because they've got Shevchenko
Oh, Shavko, right?
instead of Tatarintsev.
And stuff, yeah.
I mean, yeah, like looking at the D, um, you know, I mean, I feel like these guys aren't necessarily the most offensively talented defensemen on the power play. Like Schneider's not a, I mean, Schneider is a all around defenseman.
Yeah, 3 assists still.
It's a point man. I mean, he's not. I'm not saying they're bad, but like it doesn't. It looks like they lack like a great puck mover, and obviously that's like, what Sandine was. I don't know. I like. I don't. I don't. I guess maybe it's worth like chatting. Like, what do you like? What do you do when your power play is not working?
I generally
Try and
don't pay
redo
much.
it.
I don't pay much attention to power play and penalty kill stats unless it's absolutely atrocious, and it's only been 20 games, so I feel like this could be like just
Mhm.
shit luck at this point,
Yeah,
because
I mean, I agree. Generally, I'm not I'm not too worried about it, but like
Like, if I see my special teams are a black hole, I'm going to try and rejig something. If they're middle of the pack and they're doing as expected, I just kind of leave them.
yeah. I mean, I tend to always roll with 4 forwards on the power play, but that's, I don't know, like people's preferences on that.
I know I do similar unless I specifically just have 3 or 4 really good puck moving
Yeah,
offensive defensemen.
yeah. I mean, sometimes my second unit I'll have 2D, but I try to like, and if it's not working, I just try to move things around and try some different combinations and see it. Like sometimes the chemistry just kind of gets stale, something that was working before it isn't anymore. And so I'd like to kind of just like move things around when it's not working. But anyway, I mean, I think there's a talent here to like be a good team, but for whatever reason, it's just not working right now. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
also noticing like Leo Gee, David Tiva is like a defensive forward who's playing on their second line. Um, I don't know. I'm not obviously like I like using defensive forwards on the like on scoring lines. It would work for me, but like if it's not working, then I probably wouldn't use it for very long. And this guy is not really that good.
he's only
So
played 3 games, so I think that's
okay,
probably an injury
it's
thing.
a
But yeah,
could be, yeah,
yeah. I really don't like their defense, and I think that could be maybe the problem. They got a couple point man, a two-way guy. It looks like they're just missing someone like a really good number two, because like the rest of their team looks like they should be playing well. I think maybe it might just be like a couple upgrades on D, and this team will get rolling.
yeah. I
Do we
mean,
want to move on now?
I'll just say lastly, like I always found that when my team was talented, but they were like sluggish offensively, often I found it like it was my I found it was my D mix. It was like they're not enough passers, not enough guys moving the puck up the ice. So that was something that I would look out to. So yeah, who is next?
Next up,
Buffalo.
we got the Sabres.
All
The
right.
old Grom.
So, I mean, his team looks good. Like I'm just looking superficially at the the stats. I mean, power play's going. He's won 5 straight. Nice goals for, goals against so far. Um, I don't know. I mean, it seems like a good team.
They're doing really well. They're just stuck in a really good division. Simple as that.
Any, I'm just looking over the lineup here, it looks like, I mean, McDonough is his usual self. 17 goals in 21 games and eight, 8 ABR. I mean, that's what he got him to do. I think last time I checked, your shop was having his best season yet.
Yeah, looks like that. Over a point a game so far.
Right. Which it probably is a bit like McDonough, just kind of everything he
Just-
touches ends up in the net. But
just feed everything to him. Just feed everything to McDonough. He'll score it.
That
And
being
then
said,
to add to it,
yeah,
the other winger's got 10 goals. Both of them are scoring.
Nice. Did you sense, Drew, when you had your shove that he was like an extreme pass only center?
I mean, he was always really weird to play with on the line. Like, I had him with Geeky and Bourne for the most part, and I had him on the wing, and it never really did much more than mid-hole six scoring. And so I don't really know what his biases were, honestly, but he only topped out with 12 goals, I want to say.
Yeah, he's already halfway to that.
Right.
Only 21 games in.
I think that 12 goals is one of my tank years when I put him on the first line.
He's been a strange player, up to now. Virtually identical stats for the last 5 years, with small variations. But almost you look at his, the assists, the goals. I mean, 10 goals exactly the last 4 years, and similar, close in assists. The shots are almost exactly the same every year. It's a bizarre. I mean, he's a bizarre player, but it is a player where I think when you're gonna have an extreme shooter like McDonough, this is to me the match made in heaven, that it just works because one guy really doesn't want to shoot it and the other guy wants to shoot everything he gets. So it works.
I feel like this is how high con should work. It's just consistently the same stats every year. That's how consistency should work.
You know what you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, it's more a question of everybody. I mean, well, both people who've had him have been just waiting for more. When's more gonna come?
I think they found it.
Yeah, looks good so far. Looking at the scores on this team, who's doing the scoring? I mean, Corey Pilot is a free agent that Grum paid a lot more than a lot of people thought he should have for him, and he's playing pretty well. 20 points in 21 games on the top line. Yeah, I mean, good balance, good scoring depth looks like from this team. I don't know. I mean, I think they're just looking in good shape. The goaltending has been pretty solid. No big holes here. Anybody have any thoughts on is this a cup contender team?
I think at goaltending, I mean, 9-2 right now.
I mean, the goaltending's been good so far.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I guess he played in the playoffs last year. We didn't, and that was a letdown. I'm just gonna look up his numbers quick. In that, so Chico was 9-12, 271 in the 7-game loss. They were up I think they were up 3-1 and lost in 7. So it was let down. I mean, I don't think that that Grum blamed it on the goalie, but it just felt like the team kind of just didn't get it done as a whole. but they did get it. Like they were they were less like they didn't have that real big star that I can remember at least, and like that's what they wanted to go and get in Teddy McDonough, and so far looking good. But the only thing I could see is maybe like adding like a real stud D. They have lots of good D, but not necessarily like a real number one. I gotta think that Grum's gonna do something big before the playoffs.
I mean, I think their D is pretty good. I don't know.
I like Leonov. He's like still just playing well for them. But yeah, I mean, Chovaniak is probably their top D. And he's fine, but just like doesn't look like a true number one. But it's working fine for them.
Yeah, I don't know what they do. I mean, they could try to figure something out at 3C because it looks like. Oh, actually, no, they have 3 guys going. I don't know if they're all playing center.
Looks like they have Yershov, Clark,
Friesen.
Geeky, 1 down, 1, 2, 3.
And they tend to move. They put Friesen and some Taifair on the block. I think today. So it seems like they're looking to move one of them. But this is like they have so many centers that they can kind of just like use whoever's working best. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like the defense would be the weakest point, but I just don't think that they're that bad off there. Like, I guess they don't have like they don't have like 2 guys that are swimming like really close to 8, which isn't terrible, but like I don't know. I would pay a ton for it. Who knows?
Yeah, and I guess like yeah. No, I don't really have any other thoughts about this team. I think it's a good team, but I think it also just like much like Columbus could use just like an extra something to put them over the top here.
All right, up next then, the Rangers.
First team out of the playoffs that we're doing.
I don't mind that one bit.
They have 18 points in 21 games. Currently sit 11th in the East and 10 points out of a playoff spot. If I do math right, no. 6 points out of a playoff spot because the Metro's weak.
Yeah.
Did you have them, Drew, in terms? Are they like getting unlucky or?
Let me find out. New York.
In terms of just raw goals against, they're not doing poorly in terms of it's good enough to potentially make the playoffs. But with the offense they have, which has really been lackluster this year, they're nowhere near it. They need to find some sort of offense for them.
This expects them to be a 93-point team at the end of the season. So
it's right on the edge of the playoffs.
Exactly.
When I saw the moves that they made in the offseason, I just thought like this center group is a real step down, and like, I don't know that you can make the playoffs with this center group.
Dover and
Borgstrom has great techs, but he is his skating is as pretty much as low as you see any NHL player before they retire. He's been playing, 6.7 AVR, 13 points in 20 games.
They don't have a center above 7 AVR. That's concerning.
Yeah. Stefan Johansson's another center, like 11 points in 21 games, 6.43 AVR, and they traded for Duran. Yeah.
5 points, 21 games, -9, and a 6.33 AVR. Their number one guy is Lassinanti. with 9 points in 21 games, 6.9 AVR.
He's a defensive center, I'm pretty sure.
And he's got 9 points.
Yeah. The offense isn't looking great. Dylan Genther is the one guy that's performing pretty well. 19 points in 21 games and 7.76 AVR. So, the one bright light there, and it doesn't look good. I don't know that there's plans to to try to turn this around. He doesn't have his first round pick this year. I do. So I'm okay with him struggling, but I don't know. I don't know how this is gonna right itself really. They still don't have the goaltending is still well. Actually, I think Chistyakov is actually playing really well, right?
Chistyakov the highest AVR in their team, and he's still over 920, I think.
916. I think he was
Okay, that's what I
920.
thought.
Yeah, I think he was he was somewhere in the top 5 or so of your goalie rankings.
Fourth, I had him. Yeah, and that was when he was in 918. So that was a sim ago. But he'd still be super high.
Yeah, I mean, Chistyakov has just never been this good. You can't imagine it stays high. But he's the only thing that's really stopped them from being a lot worse, probably.
Absolutely, them and probably some of their wingers. In reality, Warner's near a point per game, Gunther's near a point per game. They're kind of just keeping this team afloat while the centers languish in the deep end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, who is next?
Next up,
Florida Panthers.
Yes.
Top of
Number one.
Top of the East, Florida Panthers with 32 points in 20 games. Let's see.
Mark today credited his new coach, Johan Lundskog, for the big improvement.
Success. Yeah.
Are they ever going to win?
Are they gonna?
I always pick them to win, in the playoffs, but they never make it very far. So.
They always get eliminated.
Well, now they've got Lundskog, and they are rolling.
I would say that it doesn't look like a drastically different team from past years. Just quickly look at the teams or the adds and subtractions. They didn't add anything significant really.
They lost
Connor
Stenman.
McMichael, and they lost
Stenman probably is the only.
Bjork Vikholm, Stenman. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's, effectively a pretty similar team to to last year. But with new coach who's got them flying, the power plays must be near number 1 in the league at over 30%, and really good penalty kill as well. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Askarov is he? Oh no, he's got one more year after this one. I thought this was maybe his last year, but this is kind of like a big year for them to actually break through, or might have to consider what the next thing for them is. So this team has always been strong enough to be, to at least go to the finals. I don't know. I think they have a decent chance. I feel like they lose a center.
They had Morant briefly for a second.
Right.
But I don't think it was
they had
real.
him in an attempted just trade to sign a guy.
Right.
Oh yeah, and
Dallas.
They also had Ilya Meyer last year, which I think he ended up in San Jose. But
He's a winger, anyways. I feel.
yeah, but yeah, I mean it's good for them for like finding some success here and not giving up. I mean,
Yeah,
I
they're
do
top in the East.
yeah,
So
I
far.
do think that this team is just like, like in past years maybe there's been like a team or two that's just like a level above them, or but I mean I think they're as good as anyone this year in the whole league.
Right.
I just want to bring up one thing about Florida that might hamper them over the next couple of months and have them fall off. Is they're missing both Fabian Liesel and Charlie Kinsman for at least 2 months each. Kinsman for 3. So
I mean,
that's 2 of their top players gone. Kinsman was a top pairing guy, I believe, and Liesel was first liner.
well, Kinsman isn't a very good defenseman that I remember, but
I don't think you give a shit until the playoffs, anyways. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just they're not going to get as high of a seed as they are right now, I don't think. But they should still be easily in the playoffs.
I think they have a good
I
enough
just-
D group, but I could see it making sense to go out and get another defenseman to add to this group, because I mean I think Romelaire, Hawkins, Bouchard are really solid, but after that, like, Jager Creasy is nothing special, and then it kind of falls off after that. So I mean that would be to me the like place where you might need to add some depth. They had Bjork Bergholm, who was a solid top 40 for a long time for them, and he's gone. So that would be the place to like maybe upgrade a little bit, is add some depth at the.
Okay, the Pittsburgh Penguins are next.
I don't even know where they are this year.
This year they are currently 5th in the Eastern Conference, 26 points in 20 games. The model has them expected to be a 101-point team, actually.
Pretty good.
So, pretty comfortably playoff team.
Another good power play, almost just under 30% right now. And I guess my first look, it looks like Rodriguez hurt. Just a groin strain, but he's been playing really, really well. 929 AVR, which I believe he kind of like had one of his worst years last year in a while. I mean, the last 2 years have been kind of sort of substandard for him. So this is going back to his like Edmonton form. And he's kind of old. He's 37. So, and his like physicals are way down. His agility's at 11 right now. Everything else is under that. So it'll be interesting to see if he can actually keep it together. Other notes about this team. Thomas Dare is having his like best season right now, 24 points in 20 games.
And he doesn't have an insane amount of help. The next closest guy's got 15.
Yeah, Dare is an all around center who's always kind of been, there, but like just sort of like maybe slowing down a little bit the offense because on the top lines. But this year he is not doing that. He's the only guy who's scoring at a good pace. So yeah, I mean usually it's Morocco and Garrett Miller who are the like kind of leaders there, but they've been okay, but nothing special. I don't know. This team looks kind of similar to what this team always looks like. A lot of the same names are here, but it seems to be working fairly okay this year. And maybe that's just like a little bit of their goaltending being really great. Any thoughts, anyone?
They have an injured goalie. Oh, Rodrigue.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he's 929 ABR, or sorry, 929 save percentage so far.
Gus Renfrew coming off a suspension here.
Gus Renfrew. It's like all these guys that like St. Louis, like Logan used to have as kind of just like depth scorers when he first took over St. Louis. They're just like all over the league.
Yeah, his whole team was like between 21, 31, 32. A few guys above, but it's good. It's like a good spot.
Yeah, Francois Xavier Sheehan is like a rookie for them. Did he play last year at all? He played 4 games, but in 15 games, I mean, he's not nothing special. 2 points in +7 in 15 games, but his ats look pretty good for a 21-year-old defenseman, and like probably going. I mean, I think he's going to be a good player for them, and might that's like a nice ad for them because they haven't had a lot of like young talent coming through over the years. Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say about this team. I mean,
From
they
one black and yellow team to another black and yellow team, the Boston Bruins.
oh gosh,
Last year they were the 8th seed. This year they are the 14th seed with 16 points. So they got a lot worse.
yeah, I mean, they lost Kelly Klein, and they haven't basically did not replace him. So they have a couple of young prospects. Neither of whom looks particularly good. Hubalik is mid-con, but doesn't have awful hats. And then Olivier McIntyre is a low-con goalie. He's a high pick and kind of just doesn't look like he has much. He's currently under 800 save percentage. So, and I mean, in only 3 games, it looks like he's basically just like coming in. He's not made a single start this year.
Yeah, so it looks like they lost the top 4D, number 1 goalie, and like a bottom 6 winger. And,
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like they were always moving towards this, like just trying to reload every year, or like trying to stave off of being irrelevant due to age. But this feels like it's inevitable at this point.
I greatly appreciate the lefty center righty Owen Power.
I mean, that's basically what's been holding them together. Is they signed some good D as free agents over the years, and that kind of like kept them good for as long as, or at least competitive for a while. But there's just not a lot left here. And I don't think they plan to rebuild, so I don't know what's gonna happen there.
Next team then is the from one storm to another, the Carolina Hurricanes. Let's see. Last year they were 3 points out of the playoffs with 82 points. This year they are on pace to be a 76-point team. So probably out of the playoffs again.
Yeah, they're sitting at 500 exactly, and yeah, they have scored 15 less goals than they've allowed.
So like probably a regression is going to go further downward for them.
I'll have to look up their the goaltending stats here, but I mean, I'm guessing that's a big problem. Yes, all three of the goalies they have on roster are under 900 save
I have
percentage.
St. Pierre's their best one, and he's between Hammerla and Lopez in 19th.
Wow.
So,
I mean, that's better than I would have imagined at 8.894
he must have
save
had a rough
percentage.
start because, his last ones, he had a rough start this last game. Because the one I did was from the sim before. So,
Right.
yeah,
I mean, this
556.
is, not surprising that with like the strategy they've chosen that they're going to have not a great time trying to score, using a lot of defensemen up front. But it seems like it's also their goaltending, so they're not defending well, nor are they scoring. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't know that this iteration of Alex's, like this new project of Alex's is gonna
Work out.
work for him.
Okay, the team following the Carolina Hurricanes are the Detroit Red Wings. So far, the biggest gainer in the standings. So at 30 points in 21 games. Last year they were at 81 points in 82 games. So not even Bettman 500. And this year they're on pace for a 100-point season.
Well, yeah, kind of unexpected with as bad as they were last year.
I think
Is it
Dubois played every. I
mostly
think
Dubois?
Dubois played every game for them this year with a 926 because, of course,
Yeah, a couple top six wingers, a couple D. You can call.
Easton
Gold.
Cohen having an unreal season.
And this is like without Austin Matthews, which is crazy.
Rapan is Locon and having an awesome season as well.
Yeah, I mean, about as good a season as you can imagine from a center, a low-con center. Is he actually playing center?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Coming
And
off a
Easton
3-point
Cowan,
game
yeah.
against the Carolina Hurricanes. Way to go, buddy.
I mean, I'm curious because, like, I look at the roster and I'm not, I don't, it doesn't feel sustainable based on the talent, but I'm just going to have a quick look at the, like, what's going on there. So, their goal scoring is middle of the league. Shot production is lower than that, so getting a little bit lucky offensively, even to just be mid. And then goals against is tops in the league. Shots against, they are they're middle of the league. So basically, this is the Dubois show. Is how I would read this. Does anybody does anybody think that this team is a contender, or is it kind of like just
I mean, if
waiting?
it's
Sorry.
Renato Dubois, he's done it before. He could do it again, right?
Right. I mean, done it before with a better team in front of him.
Well, the top two centers are pretty decent. They're producing too.
Philadelphia
Yeah,
Flyers.
Philadelphia.
So currently this year, Philly is 15th and second last in the East. Last year they were outside of the playoffs with 74 points, 81 points in 82 games, if I'm mistaken. And this year they're not good at all.
Yeah, this team felt like a team that was ready to kind of take a step forward, but it has not happened. I mean, I can't believe Sebastian Aho is still playing. They went out and they got him to be their first line center. I mean, I don't know if he's playing first line, but let's see.
It didn't seem
He
like they
was
lost
first
him.
line last time.
Yeah, he is. He is, and he's played not bad. I mean,
They didn't really lose anyone on the off season either, so I don't know why they got substantially worse.
I think
I
it's
mean,
just you didn't have enough guys grow, and they're already a bubble team.
Is it goaltending?
They have
I mean, the
Montpellier in
goaltending
net.
hasn't been great either.
They have Montpellier in net right now, which, you know, he's the one that was in the Lightning net last year.
In 4 games, 877. Sorotkins in 14 games, 894.
yeah, so Watkins is. I mean, his outs are looking good, and I believe he's high con.
Is he?
Maybe not.
I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either, but I feel. I mean, that's what
Are you looking at Sorotkin?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have. I only have 2 reports on him, and he's.
I have 5. I'm seeing if any of them pick
Okay,
up.
so
And
I
I'm
mean,
on
it's
positive or negative.
I mean, he was one that I discussed a trade for Hamrack in the off season, and it didn't. He decided to go a different direction. So I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe he wants to revisit looking at it, adding a goalie, or maybe he's the team is just so far down that there's no point for this season. But I mean, this is a team that does have a lot of good young talent. I mean, Kovarchik looks really good. He's 22 and looks like he should be ready to. I mean, should be ready to play center soon. But only 9 points in 20 games. I feel like he maybe had a better season last year. He had 29 points in 68 games last year. So maybe
He's apparently on the 3rd line right now. So
yeah, playing wing. Yeah. And I mean, some of their other best prospects are Jesper Lorentz and Brendan Farrell are like these are their top top forward prospects that they've been drafting over the last couple of years, and they're all up there. So, I mean, this is a team that I think should be getting better as we go forward, but it's definitely not an encouraging season for them.
I think their goaltending's probably their biggest flaw.
Yeah, I agree.
Cup was cost them 3 wins or 2 wins, my mistake, so far.
Sorotkins has 4 wins. Montpetit has 1.
So,
Rask has 1 win.
I'm saying they've cost them 2 wins in total, and
I'm not
adding
by that.
adding 2 wins puts them in Carolina territory. So that's a bigger improvement than it's kind of feels like. Alrighty. Up next is I had it in front of me the New York Islanders.
The Islanders.
And the Islanders are 18 points in 21 games this year. Last year they were 74 points in 82 games, so probably about the same level. Model has them expected to finish at 61 points on the season. So a little bit lower than them.
I figured out their first problem. They're using Harrison Gross.
That's
I
gross.
mean, and they're paying Gegenschatz a lot of money to be mediocre. They added Rantanen and Austin Matthews, like a couple vets in the offseason. I guess they had Rantanen last year. I mean, this team is like really all about Chris Charbonneau, and he's playing. I mean, he's scoring this year. I guess he's not been playing center, but he's killing it on the wing. Like last 5 games, 9, 10, 10, 9, 9. He's on fire right now. 28 points in 21 games, so that's like really encouraging for this team. It's the franchise. I don't know. I mean, I actually thought this team would be could be like a big improver, but I mean, there's the goaltending is just a big problem, and I mean I also think their D is just just not good enough. But I mean, anyway, I mean, I can see why they're struggling, but it felt like this team is finally on the edge of maybe taking a step forward. They just need to up the talent on in pretty much everywhere to put them over or just make them a competitive team. But yeah,
That
I mean,
Gagan shot deal is really long. It goes until 2043. So that's another 6 years.
Yeah. I mean, I think if they got a better goaltender, a lot of these players that are aging out, and so even some of them that are not, would look a lot better too, right? Even though some of them are swimming quite well.
Yeah, I mean.
But also might be a little too late to make a playoff push this season. So.
Well, it's one move away.
Right. Up next are the New Jersey Devils. And New Jersey Devils are currently sitting 5 points out of the playoff spot and expected to finish at 78 points. So probably a not playoff team.
Well, I mean, their model, the model is based on them having Carter Hart as their starter and not Hugo Havelid.
That is correct. Yeah.
So, I mean,
you can actually check out what
they've made a big investment in being a playoff team, trading away their first this year for Havelid.
What's Havelid's save percentage this year?
Well, before, I mean, it's 874 for New Jersey in four games. But before that, it was 920 for LA.
Cool.
In 11 games.
So if Havelid was playing for New Jersey with a 924, it expects New Jersey to be a 102-point team. That's if Havelid gives them a 920.
So, yeah. I mean, it would be a drastic change, obviously.
Right.
I mean, this team is kind of a mix of massive talents in Bedard, Levis, Ty Smith, that are kind of older and need to kind of win now with them, and then some really good young players. So, August Graf is obviously, he's now their top D and just looks amazing. Let's see, how's he been playing? 771 ABR, 11 points in 21 games, so pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's just about whether they can put up together enough depth to be a contender. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's that hard to add depth when you need it, if you're willing to go get it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be one of the stories to watch, I guess, this year is can they make themselves into contender?
They're actually, it looks like they're a little over the cap right now, so they have to figure dollars and cents out right quick here too. That might be because Carter Hart's still on their roster.
Right.
And I think he got waived today.
Yeah.
So it's probably just something like that. But they're there's not much wiggle room for other moves, which it says,
For Hugo Havelid, he still wants clarification on his future, so that might be part of the reason why he's playing so bad.
he needs to set his status so this guy
Yeah.
feels comfortable there.
Another team far out of the playoffs, Toronto Maple Leafs. Currently last in the Eastern Conference with 9 points in 22 games. Last year they were third last in the Eastern Conference with 61 points in 82 games. So another not very good season in Toronto.
I mean, they're in a full rebuild. I think that what that's what the GM has acknowledged. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not a good team. It needs a lot of work. There isn't a lot up like down the middle at all. Yeah, I mean, I think this team it's gonna be hard for maybe anyone to be as bad as them this year.
He needs to sell Elliott to someone who can use him, I think. I don't know. Maybe Elliott would be good again. I don't know. Also,
I mean,
at
there's
least,
definitely
You trade
this
Elliott,
team
like,
has their first, right?
do they have
The
their
last two
first?
teams we looked at didn't have their first.
That's true. And if you sell Elliott, though, that's the thing is he might be flirting with ratio because right now they're at 49 goals for and 84 against. That's not too far from if you're selling too much from the ratio.
True.
Bornikov icon. Maybe I don't see it, but
His name's Bonnikov.
no. Okay, he's not been very good. I mean, they have a couple other like Ash Pateman, Smacklin good. I mean, they have some things they could sell. They haven't really been in a hurry. Like I don't remember these guys really hitting the trade market last year or this summer or anything. Like they haven't. It doesn't seem like they've been trying to necessarily get like move these guys for picks or prospects. But I mean, at this point, why not? I mean, other than for potentially hitting ratio where they are. I mean, they are 49 and 84. So, I mean, it's not a threat this moment, but if they get worse, then it might be. Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be the worst team in the league this year, pretty by a lot. So.
All right. Up next is a team with a substantial improvement from last year. The Tampa Bay Lightning. Last year they were 56 points in 82 games. This year they're already halfway of that with 28 points in 20 games.
I have to say this team is better than I thought it was going to be. I felt like a lot of people thought like, oh, they've improved a lot, but I mean, it still felt like there was just
It's just
not
a
strong
substantial
depth at all.
difference between an 850
Yeah.
goalie and a 900 goaltender. Like 900
Sure.
isn't good. 850 is just so awful. That's it's this like the
Yeah.
difference between 850 and 900 is the same difference between 900 and 950 goaltending.
I mean, I feel like they have like maybe 6 decent, like good to decent forwards, 6 maybe 7. And I mean their defense is obviously Ride Stenman is and Rodney Babineau is actually pretty good too. But like after it falls off a lot, I think after that. So it's interesting. And actually Cartonen is higher than Ottinger. That's in on their depth chart for me.
I've got the same thing.
Carton
Yeah,
also has a 918 on the year.
is he again? I don't remember if he's Icon or he must be mid because I don't see it. But anyway, I don't know how many more years Ottinger has, and I don't know if this is like Cartner passing him is is because our Ottinger's falling off. It looks like his agility's down to 13. So, and Ottinger's at 901. So, I mean, it's early, but I mean, it could be signs of him falling in the same abyss that has taken Carter Hart and other top goalies in their late 30s. So, I don't know, and I don't know that he has that much left in the tank. He's only on the 1-year deal here.
He was only a 908 last season.
Okay, because he was starting to fall off then.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're gonna need a new generation of good goalies here, because a lot of these guys are just gone.
Good on the Lightning for being a playoff team. I mean, maybe not necessarily a deep playoff contender, but definitely a playoff team.
It's a massively improved team, which is
Exactly.
really good to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's won 8 straight right now.
9-1 in this last
On a
10.
roll.
Hell yeah. And I don't
He's
think they're gonna
coming for
drop
ya.
the spot. Hey, yeah.
It's coming to
And
take
then
wildcard 1 from you, Drew.
I get 2 Stanley Cup rings plugged in my ear.
Oh.
Up next, Ottawa. Ottawa last year was 54 points in 82 games. This year they're at 16 points in 20 games, which is an improvement if I do math right.
It's I believe that's an improvement. Not an insane amount like Tampa, but still somewhat of an improvement.
This thinks they're going to be a 61 point team at the end of the season, which
Improvement.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a lot there. It's still the same pretty much roster that's been kind of bad for them for a while now. But they added Guillaume Zog. But right now, like, their first line center is Kyle Toure, which is he's a physical defensive center. Aversion is pretty much done. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously there's a team in a rebuild, so, but like, it still doesn't. There's not much here yet that's really coming through. Bob Neville is, I guess, the best player that's like started to play for them from a couple years ago, and he's looking pretty decent, like 11 points in 20 games, and 7.15 AVR, so not bad for a rookie. I think, did he play last year? He may have played 33 games last year, so he's technically not a rookie this year.
I don't have any good scattering reports on the Schofield kid, the goalie, the Schofield guy. Do you guys?
Yeah.
Marie Schofield? I don't have a report either.
Let's see.
Is he much of anything?
I've never even heard of him. I don't have. I have like.
He was undrafted, so
yeah,
makes sense why you've never heard of him.
Yeah, I have. Is he on their
He's second on their depth chart.
Prospect list?
No, he's just their second goalie.
Yeah.
Right. So he's not. I mean, it doesn't. It looks like he's just a guy filling a spot. For now.
Yeah.
My scouts actually my scouts have him listed as their 12th best prospect.
Oh, okay. He doesn't.
But fourth out of the goalie ranking there. Chernov, Reed, and Phil Toe beat him.
Right. I mean, Chernov has good potential, and yeah, I mean, I think between Reed and Chernov, I can't remember if Chernov is a low con goalie. He may be, but Reed is good and probably their like future starter. And he's currently playing in Belleville, playing okay. Hasn't played a lot of games so far.
Yeah, they've got the other goalie in Belleville, Jack Demon, as their starter.
Okay. That's I don't know. I'd be trying to make sure that Reed plays. I mean, I wonder how many games he played last year.
Honestly, if you're not getting him AHL starts, get him
Yeah.
in the ECHL.
Yeah, exactly.
Get him
I
in a
mean,
place where he'll actually play, especially for goalies.
They also have that Quinnipiac goalie, RJ. Look at how this RJ is
right.
spelled in it.
RJ Filta.
I want to strangle those parents.
RJ.
And I mean, decent potential. I remember this guy in the draft. I mean,
My
yeah,
list has him fifth.
they've drafted good like top D in the last 3 drafts.
Yeah, I think we
Bob Neville and then Corey Antoniak, who is their top prospect, and
And
probably
Tonin
could,
Derrier.
yeah, and then Terrier. So like, I mean, Antoniak could certainly be playing for them this year. Looks
Yeah,
like he,
they need to look towards now starting to build out the forward core for the
yeah.
future.
Terrier is not, you know, he's not ready to play in the NHL. But yeah, it's pretty thin up front. Their top forward prospect is, I mean, Isaiah Sorensen is, I don't think
Physical
really.
defensive center.
Yeah, exactly.
Tops out at like a fourth
yeah,
liner at max, I'd say.
yeah. Isaac Adams is kind of it's like a borderline first line type player, but yeah, when that's your best like forward prospect, you're in trouble. They need centers badly in the system, and they don't really have any good ones. So they're gonna have to start
Loading onto a
prioritizing.
defensive real quick.
Did we
Sorry?
crash it?
Crash.
Did we? Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
crashed
Yeah.
it.
I think crashed.
I think this is
Well.
a great time to end the episode, though. Woo! All right.
What
Yes.
timing?
Look at that.
No
Yeah.
live right at the end.
I mean, should we just do some little predictions about the
Oh, sure.
the West, or sorry, the East? I don't know, like who do people feel like are I don't know, gonna win the divisions, or just like who are the top contenders? Who's gonna come out of
I got Toronto coming out of the East.
Oh, interesting. I
Yeah,
mean,
totally. Yeah,
we know you're a biased Leafs fan, so.
I'm talking about real life, but you know, here I'm picking
Yeah.
Montreal.
Here you're picking Montreal, eh? You're betting on yourself.
Three-peat, here we come. It's the goal.
Oh,
I mean,
God, no, he's even more insufferable.
I mean, I feel like, I mean, the team definitely needs to like a boost from some trades. I would say like right now the strongest team is the top team, which is Florida. That to me, they look like the most complete team. But yeah, I mean, I do think it's well, those teams are good. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Buffalo is probably a more complete team than them.
It's a very close fight at the top. If they want
Yeah.
to topple each other, they probably all have to go mine.
But I also think like for all those teams, like if they want it, like there's a lot of teams that if they decide this is their year, they can just go and take it, because I don't think there's like a team that is just like head and shoulders above the
Good.
rest. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all in a tight knit bunch.
And the West isn't looking very, scary either. So
No, the West is probably even more tight, just because you actually have teams out of the playoffs that are close too.
yeah, but nobody really just looks that strong or scary out West. So I think it's like really some of these teams in the East really have to think of it as like this is the year, like Buffalo, Florida, Columbus, and I mean obviously Montreal. Am I forgetting anybody? Anyway, those are the teams where I think like they can just like totally go for it at the deadline, and Washington's another one, and like they may get themselves a cup because it's that like there's just no real team that like scares people right now.
Yeah, I mean to come out of the East as like winners.
Yeah,
I don't know, Montreal. I guess. Go Montreal.
It's a safe bet.
Ooh.
I think Montreal has a good. I just think there's like Drew just has to like add a couple pieces to like strengthen the like bottom six and third pairing. I don't know how the third pairing. I just remember looking at it in the off season thinking this third pairing could use some work.
Yeah, I lost Krynen off the third pair, and he's in Detroit now. Replaced.
I mean, I
Try to
hope it's
replace.
Florida.
Florida be fun.
I just
Florida.
hope it's anyone but Drew. That's my only wish.
Here's a sort of a wild card question, Drew. If you win the cup, thus completing the three-peat and ending your tenure as a Montreal Canadiens GM, who do you want? Who do you have your eye on?
Well, as I said, whatever shit show is going on at that time, and like probably just whoever team's free, because someone's gonna quit. Let's be honest, it's EHM. Like,
I mean, we all know Colorado's available, basically.
oh, man, I don't want to take the Avs. God damn it.
It's like you. I get
Drew,
it.
I will take any team that is open. Also, Drew, not them.
Not them though. Right.
This could be Grom's year to win it too. Like he might, his
It's
team's
true.
getting pretty close, and I think that
All hell, Gramocracy.
he might, if he goes all in, like
He has a
really
couple
all
cup
in.
winners, already on his team.
Yeah.
I think he probably has the most sort of like talent from in every sort of you added up all the talent from like top to bottom in his lineup. He's probably got the strongest lineup all the way through, and yeah. I mean, I don't really know the Boston GM, and I don't want I don't want this to seem like that they're like we're like push him out of the league. But if he doesn't want to rebuild the team, that's probably one of the bigger disasters that there are. And I mean, Drew lives in Boston. I like the fit. All right.
Alrighty. Sorry. Alright, and now I'll stop the record.